Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajwa and I hope this video finds you well. If you are new to this place, please consider subscribing. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much guys. I honestly truly appreciate every single support, your comments, your constructive criticism. Everything is so dear to me, so please keep them coming. So in this video, I want to just debunk some myth and rumors and some negative connotation when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances, as well as recommend some amazing fragrances which are, to me, very beginner friendly. In most instances, a lot of people refer to Middle Eastern fragrances as synthetic smelling. Yes, of course, there are a lot of them which are synthetic smelling. However, there are so many amazing ones which are not synthetic smelling, which are not cheap smelling, which are not offensive, which are not obnoxious, which are not off-putting. These are some great alternatives to these designer and niche fragrances that a lot of us cannot really afford, but just want to have that experience. So for the most part, I'm just going to do something quite friendly. I'm not going to get into very heavy woody Oriental style Middle Eastern fragrances. And I also want to ask this question: are you a hunter or a gatherer when it comes to fragrances, especially Middle Eastern fragrances? By hunting, I mean, do you really test a lot of them on a regular basis? Are you exposed to a lot of them? Do you have friends and acquaintances who wear these fragrances on a daily basis for you to be able to really testify or attest to the fact that they are cheap smelling or they are synthetic smelling? Because they don't really come across to me for the most part as, you know, those negative connotations. So if you're a hunter, you explore, you test them yourself, you have decants. If you are a gatherer, that is when you watch a lot of videos and based on people's recommendation, just pick one or two, and if it doesn't work for you, just go like they are cheap smelling, they are synthetic. They are not. You know, sometimes it pains me quite a bit when I hear those comments, but I mean, to each their own. But in this video, I'm here to recommend some amazing ones, you know, that you can easily grab and go if you're a beginner and you don't want something too strong, too oriental in nature, because a lot of Middle Eastern fragrances are quite, you know, on the what people refer to as oriental. Even the term Oriental, people find quite offensive. I'm not too sure. You know, if you know the reason why, maybe you might educate me or you can educate me, but I'm not too sure why people are quite offended by the term Oriental when it comes to fragrances. I might be ignorant, you know, in this aspect. So I'm willing to learn, you know, and correct my mistakes if I'm using the term wrongly. So without much talking, I'll start off with the very first one, and the first category I have here is the Gourmand. For a Gourmand fragrance, I'm going to highly recommend Versace's Casimat Egba. Egba is simply delectable. It has green apple, it has some lime and some vanilla. This fragrance has been compared to Swiss Arabian's Casablanca, and I have unfortunately not sampled that before, so I'll not be able to test or to compare the two to know how similar they are. However, when I read reviews on Casimat Egba, people claim it's a very it's a better version of Casablanca, which I don't have any idea, so I'll not be able to speak to that. But this is very delectable. So if you are looking for something gourmandish, very vanillic in nature, you know, with some apple, I'll highly recommend that you check this one out. So this is Egba by Versace. I'm recommending two fragrances from each category. So the second one I have when it comes to the Gourmands is Lattafa's Anna in Glory. It has some creme brulee, some pineapple, some black pepper, some turmeric, you know, which makes it quite spicy. However, the spices in this one is not overwhelming. It's quite soft. It is quite tolerable. Even if you are new to fragrances, I'm sure you will still appreciate this, you know. It's quite an entry level, especially, you know, for me, because I guess for like, even if you're a beginner, you still need something that is going to be quite present, quite potent. It doesn't have to be those soft fragrances all the time as a beginner. You know, you can ease your way through them, but everybody's level of tolerance is quite different. So this one to me is quite an entry level when it comes to spicy gourmand fragrances. If you love your fruity gourmand scent, I would highly recommend that you check this one out. So this is Anna in Glory by Lattafa. The second category I have here is the fruits, and when it comes to that, there are like a wide variety of fruits, you know, to choose from. But I am recommending Ajaib by Lattafa. This is basically sandalwood, agarwood with mango and orange. That is exactly what you get. It's quite spicy, you know, quite spicy, but not like too much. It is fruit done in a very exotic way. It has some exotic aura about it. It's not like a simple fruity mango orange, you know, fragrance at all. This one is quite it has some depth, it has some complexity about it, yet very pleasant. You know, the sandalwood oud, agarwood in this one is quite light and sweet, coupled with that mango, that lime, that orange. It is a very delectable. It is not overly fruity, it is not overly gourmandish, you know, because of that perfect blend of the agarwood, the sandalwood, the mango. That combination makes it quite perfect. So Ajayi Dubai by Latafa is one that I would highly recommend as an entry level fruity fragrance. I had no idea about how kumquat smelled until I came across Junoon Noir. Apparently kumquat is a fruit which is quite powdery and citrusy, and I definitely get that nuance in this one. And this is coupled with some powdery, sultry vanilla, you know, making it very delectable yet very fruity. It gives you that very exotic oriental touch or feel. That is what this one gives me. It's quite soft and gentle yet very present when, you know, you do some fruit spray. So for the fruity fragrances, I'm recommending this one and Ajayi Dubai by Latafa. The next category I have here is the florals, but personally I'm not really into heavy floral fragrances. So what I have done is to give what I normally wear, which is like very fresh aquatic florals. And these two, the first one is from FA Paris, and this one is called Roses the Emotions, and this is been compared to Barredo's Roses of No Man's Land. I have no idea how that one smells, but trust me, this is one of my best picks for 2023. To me, this is a very perfect floral fragrance. You know, it has that aquatic nature to it, some maxi nuances to it. It's quite gentle yet very present and very potent. If you spray this one, it's going to last you the whole day. It lasts, like, it has the potency, it has the lasting ability. You don't need to even overspray this one. I like the fact that it doesn't come across as very heady florals. You know, some florals can be a bit too heady for my liking, and I like my florals, you know, boxed with something else, and this one is a perfect example. So Roses the Emotions is one that I would highly recommend. It is very gentle, very soft, yet very present when you spray it, so I would highly recommend this. The next one in this category I have here is also so dear to me. I always recommend this. You know, I would really want a lot of people to try this fragrance, and this one is called Fiori di Luvo Florenzi by Fragrance World. It also has a very aquatic, watery, I think it has some water flower, some water blossom with some lotus and some olive. It's a very gentle yet very sultry, beautiful, effervescent, you know, floral. For the most part, this fragrance gives me like a very heavy cherry nuance, but I also get that very soft, gentle water flower, water lily, that magnolia, you know, olive blossom. It gives me that sort of florals. I don't think I have seen anyone talking about this fragrance, at least here on YouTube. I don't think I have ever seen anyone, you know, and I'm drumming it just because I just want to put a lot of people on this fragrance, which is a very interesting, quite simple, yet very sexy. It gives me sexy, it gives me romantic. It doesn't give me masculine energy, it doesn't give me bold, you know, it doesn't give me anything bold and out there. It is quite gentle, and that is the reason why I would highly recommend this fragrance. The next category I have here is what I would term as the Oriental ouds, and with these ones I really want to go into very heavy, strong, animalic carnal ouds. So I'm starting off with something gentle, and this one is quite a very popular one, Oud Mood. A lot of people know Oud Mood. It's quite affordable, and I love the fact that the oud here is quite gentle. There are so many other fragrances which smell similar to Oud Mood, but I think among the ones that I have come across, or I have Reseller which smells similar. I have Shagaf Oud which smells similar, but those are quite denser, you know, and much more polarizing as compared to Oud Mood. Oud Mood is quite gentle, you know. In the scheme of rose oud combos, Oud Mood is one that I would highly recommend. It's quite gentle. It also has this very delectable caramel, something quite sweet, quite spicy, but not like overly done as compared to its counterpart. So I'll highly recommend that. The next entry-level oud fragrance that I would highly recommend is Shamoki by Fragrance World. It is not very popular, especially here on YouTube. I hardly hear people talking about it, but trust me, if your vibe is fruity, girly, romantic, and mass appealing, then you are absolutely going to adore Shamoki. To me, I'll place it in the same category as Oud Mood. If you love Oud Mood, I think you're going to fall so hard for Shamoki. It is quite spicy, quite potent with the oud, but the caramel, raspberry has some raspberry, you know, fruity accords to it, and it's so delectable. It comes off as very girly. It's like the girl next door, quite simple, yet it's very beautiful and, you know, quite mass appealing. So that is Shamoki by Fragrance World. The next category I'll talk about is what I term as the spicy or the spice. You know, Middle Eastern fragrances are known for their spice. You cannot, you cannot say you're a true believer of Middle Eastern fragrances if you don't love their spicy, out there in your face potent fragrances. I love my spices in the form of the licorice, the cardamom, the cinnamon, the turmeric, you know, all manner. I love them all. And the first fragrance I'm going to recommend here is Charuto Tobacco Vanille. That might not necessarily be the most beginner friendly fragrance on this list. However, I just want people to at least push the envelope. You know, a lot of time I get people in my comment section saying, oh, I'm new to fragrances and I'm glad I chanced upon your channel, you know, so can you recommend something for me? And although I feel you might be new to fragrances, sometimes you just need to challenge yourself, you know, because if you challenge yourself from the beginning, you might be able to stick to some of these spicy fragrances and they might be your favorite. It's been compared to Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, but to me it is quite spicy as compared to the OG. It has something licorice about it, you know, something a bit like licorice minty nuance about it that is missing from the OG, and that is the reason why I love that one. If you allow that one to sit for a while, especially for about a month, it smoothens out beautifully. It is quite challenging if you are new, but I'll highly recommend that you check it out. You know, if you want something bold, something out of the ordinary, if you don't want to, you know, you don't want to crawl but you want to run when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances, I'll highly recommend that you check that Charuto Tobacco Vanille one. I'm sure you absolutely love it. And in the same category, I think in this category, because the spicy fragrances are quite, you know, a lot, I'm going to do 3 fragrances. So the second one I'm going to talk about is Camera by Latafa. Camera to me is a household fragrance at this point. Everybody knows about Camera, and if you don't have it, you feel like you're missing out something, you know, that fear of missing out. And honestly, to me, I think the fear of missing out on Camera is a sin. It is very rich, very thick with the date. You know, that date makes it very thick, very resonant, very warm. It gives you that very inviting Christmas feel with the apple pie nuance, a slight boozy nuance or aspect to it. It's very delectable. So I'll highly recommend that you check Camera out. You know, it's quite potent, but also very tolerable, even if you're a beginner. And the other one that I will add to this category is Kaid. Kaid may not be everybody's level entry Middle Eastern fragrance, you know, it might not be, but as I said, you are starting off, you want to be bold, you want to, you know, you want to run, you don't want to really crawl, because there's a lot to catch up when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances. So if you want something bold, quite vanillic, sweet, leather, cardamom, cinnamon, spicy, very spicy, but yet very warm, it has this elegance and maturity about it, which is very sexy. It's a perfect unisex fragrance that I would highly recommend that you check out. The last category I have here is what I have termed the clean or the clean girl aesthetic sort of, you know, fragrance, you know, because everybody needs something clean, something quite simple, something quite fresh, you know, for days when you don't want to do too much. And the very first one I have here is Fleur de Oriental by Oriental. This is simply amazing. It's a very beautiful, you know, to me, I think this is a perfect clean girl scent. It has some florals, it has some fruits, some peach, some water blossom. It's quite musky, a little powdery. It's quite light, you know. It gives me a very refreshing, zen, spa-like calming effect. That is what this one basically gives me. It gives me this sense of peace and tranquility. So I would highly recommend that you check this one out. You know, it is also not spicy, it is not obnoxious, it doesn't have a very typical Middle Eastern nuance to it, but it's also quite different from the usuals. All the fragrances I'm talking about are quite different, like from the first one to the last one, they are all different, you know, so you're avoiding redundancy. You're not buying anything twice. You're avoiding buying the same or similar scents, because you find all of them very different, taking different directions. So this one I would highly recommend for those who are into clean girl aesthetics, very simple, elegant, yet very sophisticated and womanly scent. So Fleur de Oriental by Oriental. And the last one in this category gives me the same experience or the same effect as the Fleur de Oriental. This is Infinite Max by Alhambra. A very gentle, simple yet elegant fragrance. It is supposed to be this musky fragrance by the name, but you don't get a lot of the musk, you know. It is boxed with some, I think, plum and black currant, so it's quite fruity, but not like overly fruity. And it has some very creamy, dense sandalwood to it, which makes it quite woody. Even the sandalwood in this one is like white sandalwood, so it's it's not like very potent, very woody, very in your face. It's quite gentle. All the notes in this one are supposed to give you a sort of calming effect, something calming, something zen, something spa-like, something that you enjoy for yourself, something that is not going to be for everyone, in the sense that it's not going to be projecting for everybody to be smelling you. For when you don't want to do too much, or your work doesn't require you to do a lot of fragrances, these are the sort of fragrances that I would highly recommend. I see myself grabbing this one for those white t-shirts and jeans sort of days, when you want to feel relaxed, let your head down. Those are the days that I think I'll be wearing this. And also for bedtime, it is super appropriate for bedtime. It smells very clean, quite fruity, quite soapy, very gentle, very demure, quite dainty. So to my beginners, these are 12 fragrances that I would highly recommend. Don't be afraid of Middle Eastern fragrances. Don't, listen to people without testing this for yourself. Be a hunter, not a gatherer. It's good to be a gatherer, and a hunter in real life. But when it comes to fragrances, you can be a combination of both. But for me, when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances, be a hunter. Go out, test it for yourself. At least test them for yourself before you conclude. In general, every fragrance, when it comes to the niche, whatever, I think it's better we give each of them a chance. If you can afford it, why not? If people are spending hundreds and thousands, that is none of your business, So I guess we just need to respect whatever people gravitate towards, especially when it comes to things that people find personal, and fragrances are quite personal. I hope you enjoyed this fragrance journey as a beginner, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.